And so we're back. This is Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. We give you an audio-visual radio experience that you can count on anytime, any day. And as we look into the matters that concern terrorism financing, as we've seen, some would say progress. I mean, the claims, from the U.S. right there, where a congressman had come out boldly to make a clear the fact that you have the insurgents sponsorship in the country and all. Question will be, why now? Why now? Are they just making this revelation for the first time? Are they just realizing that there is a certain agency of theirs who has been involved in sponsoring insurgents or insurgency in our dear country, Nigeria? Another question would be from the place of these agents or this agency or these agencies would not be working in a limbo, right? They're working with people who are indigenous to our country. They're working with Nigerians to indeed fester this pain, this suffering, this killing and dastardly act on our people. So what about the people who are complicit, who are accomplices as well, in the entire process? And the last now would be, the world is waiting to see what the Nigerian government will do in view of this revelation. Because as some, are thinking about this, and Omoife has also, added a voice to it. Is this also a distraction to take us away from those who are also aiding and abetting whatever efforts some of these international agencies, are giving in terms of support, financial or emotional, into any kind of support, just to see that these insurgents indeed gain, act in the way that they act in this country. These are the angles that we are looking at as well. But then we'll just open the phone lines, and whilst we do so, we'll also let our guest to recoup his thoughts and try to proffer, some thought line to this discourse in this regard. Now, the number that you should stick to would be 0907 353 0044. That is the number you should stick to when calling in, 0907 353 0044. Now, the WhatsApp portal number where you can just give us your WhatsApp thoughts would be
0909 705 4450. Please don't send voice notes.
That's right.
Just a message would do.
Right.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Elder Noja.
Good morning, my Odua.
Good morning to you, Elder. You're calling from Cuba.
My regard to my family, my regard to my family.
Appreciate.
Thank you.
Yeah. Where are you calling from?
Yes, yeah. Calling from Cuba in Abuja.
All right, talk to us, Elder.
Yeah, after taking as my guest. To do a security test, I went to
Elder, we can barely hear you. Network is breaking. Hello?
Are you hearing me now?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Okay, I want to ask my guest there. Any country in the world, when the country is at war, and then the people really war from. People may have killed people twice, killed people's children, two people hopefully they pay their action. After they surrender or they capture. And then one government will sit down and say, release those people, let them go back to society. Without trying them. And then without that war finish. Any country in the world. Because then the spiritual part. In America, this is where they capture from in America. How many years they spend in Guatemala before they explain? Iraq, the people where they capture from war front, they stay in prison in Iraq after the war. I don't know. If there is no Timber and Caliban in Nigeria behind this insurgency in Nigeria, if there is no country in the world, if there is any country, I'm a no to that. If there is any country, when the war continues and then the people stop from war, somebody will sit down and send them to society. and then without paying contribution to those who and then without bringing those people when they demolish their house, say anything to them. They bring those criminals, say they have changed, then they have changed, and then they take them back. If there's no somebody behind, if that type of thing happens, that's my question to my guest. Thank you very much. God bless Nigeria. Thank you.
Appreciate that, Elder. Well, you can still keep the calls coming through now. 0907 353 0044. Now this revelation is out what to do country, and as Elder is also reiterating what I said earlier, the international community through whatever aid cannot destabilize our country if they do not have a link who are indigenous to us, who are our people, our brothers and sisters, who become the conduit pipe through which this international aid are indeed operating fruitfully. Hello.
Hey, Yudi.
Good morning to you, Bibi. Right.
Thank God today na Monday morning
Right.
making.
Yes.
Good morning, Bibi. Blessing.
How you doing today?
Fine, thank you.
Bibi, where are you calling from?
My name na Bibi Bless. I call Montako.
All right.
You know, the news where we dey hear about, it just break out. It just make me dull this morning. Since yesterday where I dey hear this news. You know, we were with the talk for this radio, we talk for time, I go say, no, we spread that word. Imagine now, during the time of, we hear say the nation people name where they support this Boko Haram. Up to today, we don't hear anything about it. Somebody still come out this regime now where we are. We still nation people. Not be say they don't know who the people where they support all this Haram. Not be say they don't know. That is why I say they bring their country the time of operation. They not settle there. They go back and now they buy guns. They say how do you they have apple for there for this politician. Say there is something where we not know, but before God and man where they tell you today, this secret it don't leak out. So do them anything? No, the court where you carry the matter go, who they there? Not be there, they represent us. Won't be the president, not be there. Won't be the senator, not be there. Won't be the soldier, won't be the police, not be there. Now me and you will there. Me where they talk, you are not getting anybody where they work for government, but I have friends where they work for government. They are not putting her for bad things. That is why when you see I hit first, I know what I'm saying. I not do it because of people. Do you know this idea what we do now from today now to even secure you cannot for your money to secure water, you cannot get that people they have the bag of rice don't become 150,000 and our president cannot do something about it. Our senator they sit down there, copy our money, support all Boko Haram to rubbish innocent people when they go farm to give us food. Nothing we can talk. My mouth will tell the people after we talk for this lady na laugh they laugh us. They say we are wasting our credit. Who they listen for us because of the call? Because that's why they increase network now. Who you work about I go call. I not go give up until Nigeria get better. God bless
Bibi.
you.
Thank you so much, Bibi.
Blessing.
Quite a very passionate, emotional conversation right there, but it holds water. Well, Comrade Saliu, the calls are still coming through, but just before we have you react to all of these, let's just quickly take this message via the WhatsApp, and then of course we have all of these discourse.
Right. Abbas reporting from Duse says, good morning once again.
Good morning,
now
Abbas.
that we have discovered the sponsors of terrorist activities in Nigeria, can we now have them prosecuted so that all manners of insurgency can end? For me, I don't think this is enough because it's obvious sponsors of insurgency in Nigeria are many. Let Nigeria security agencies change their tactical approach to this war. We can all see intelligence report is the only solution to ending insurgency in Nigeria, not this content from military policing.
Yeah.
Abbas reporting from Duse. Thanks
Right.
for that message. And we have this one here. Yusuf from Wusetu says, good morning, UD and Omoefe.
Good morning to you, Yusuf.
The cost of USAID activities in Nigeria and the toll it has taken on our resources in the past 15 years cannot be quantified. starting from the number of people killed to humongous defense spending. We vote a chunk of our resources in buying Tucano jets and other arms for the very sponsors of insurgency in Nigeria. It is also obvious that USAID funding in other areas were for subversive purposes. Their funding in the area of agriculture ended up slaughtering our farmers, while the one in respect of family planning end up promoting same-sex marriage and transgender rights, while those on health end up scaling up communicable diseases, compelling us to use a chunk of our resources to buy back pharmaceutical companies. The allegation of Nigeria president against France on the sponsorship of Lakurawa terrorists should be dismissed with a wave of hand by our government officials, right? Our government should be too comfortable dealing with France. Lastly, the government should immediately halt the activities of all donor agencies operating in Nigeria and, if possible, expel them if they are found culpable in sponsorship of terror in Nigeria.
Right.
Yusuf says.
All right, we're back with you, Comrade Saliu. I mean, I know this is quite a lot, to react to.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's have your thoughts, though.
Well, to one of the callers who said there are people behind it. Yes, nobody. If you look at my introduction, I did lay credence to when even former President Goodluck Jonathan mentioned that there are sponsors of Boko Haram and insurgency, even in his government. You can recall that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The issues are, yes, it is a non-fact that there exist their internal collaborators. But the agencies charged with the responsibility of unveiling the names of these internal collaborators fail to do so. In Nigeria, when somebody steals hen or chicken, is when that person gets jailed. But when somebody commits maybe illegal arm proliferation, illegal arms importation, it dies a natural death. So the higher and more complicated the cases, the easier it goes. So I think the issues are two-way thing. The people charged with responsibility of prosecuting as well as jailing and unveiling the names of these internal collaborators fail to do so for reasons best known to them. But we cannot rule out that fact that both in northeastern part of Nigeria where there is Boko Haram, northwestern part of Nigeria where there is banditry, that their internal collaborators are not there. Of course, most of these international NGOs, even some of the people they recruit are Nigerians. No NGOs penetrate without getting their internal staffs. And some of these internal staffs are also Nigerians. Some of their top echelons are Nigerians. So it lies, this is an Herculean tax on the Nigerian police force as well as Department of State Services and even the defense headquarters. Don't forget, the Chief of Defense Staff paid a higher price when of recent it was mentioned that certain foreign NGOs are also called to be sponsoring and disguising. The Canadian government denied them visa or not? That is the question we should be asking. So it's also getting it for being emphatic, for being frank and blunt. So that is to tell you, if tomorrow they come openly to reveal their internal collaborators, to a lot of them might not even read. They still have a long way to go.
All right.
So the system is not right. The system is not also not doing what is right.
Okay, comrade, in a bid to get it right, now that the USAID has been mentioned, to be a sponsor of, terrorism, not just in Nigeria, but of course even in Afghanistan and what have you, we see that the federal government is actually making plans to engage 28,000 Nigerian health workers on the USAID payroll. Is this really a step in the right direction, or the Nigerians, on the USAID payroll should be summoned or maybe invited for questioning as to how best to unravel the root? Because it appears there is some sort of connivance internally, right? And that is perhaps the reason why these insurgents have, been carrying out the activities
Don't forget, at the inauguration, after the inauguration of U.S. President Donald Trump, he did scrap and stopped funding for USAID, citing certain reasons. That the president that held sway before him were using USAID for purposes other than the interests of Americans. I felt these funds that are channeled to USAID are channeled for other selfish interests before this revelation by the U.S. congressman. So, if the Nigerian government has planned to engage the USAID staff, on what basis with this revelation now? So, I think now it is time for the police, CID, to invite most of United States Agency for International Development staffs, whether they are from Nigeria origin or not, for questioning. Yes, these are allegations made internationally. What are your own take on it? Are you getting me? What are your level of culpability and also others? So I think rather than engaging them now, maybe don't forget also that through USAID and GAIN, they have funding for fighting HIV/AIDS. You understand that? So I think maybe the role of Nigeria trying to engage those staff of USAID is at the part of making things easier for people with HIV/AIDS in Nigeria. Since don't forget of recent, outside the budgetary appropriation, there was a special fund for health ministry to be able to continue from where the United States stopped from funding HIV/AIDS campaign, drugs, and what have you in Nigeria. So if specifically it is for that purpose, let some of them be scrutinized and profiled. If they are found not wanting or culpable, then they can continue. Then if otherwise they can employ new staff, since it's Nigerian government that is now going to continuously sponsor those things and also other things. So that way I think we can do it better. Now it is a task ahead of Department of State Services, and thank God we have a very intelligent Director General Ajayi there who knows what to do, how and when. Then also the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Ekpetokun, since the police are custodians of internal security. Good morning, my sister.
Welcome back, Elder.
Yes, Danoja. My question is, you did not answer it.
Okay, what's the question?
I went to find out if there's any country in the world, any country is at war. Tell me. And then the people, my soldier and my police captured from war front. And then somebody will train them, say they have repented the Boko Haram and lead them back to society. And then the people where they kill their parents display their house. Government refused to do anything to those parents. And then two, those people where they drove away, government refused to bring them back and release those criminals in society. If there's any country in the world wherever do that type of thing, I want to know from him because I'm a movie in that.
All right.
Because, thank you very much.
Appreciate
it. Thank you.
Well, although Naja asking a question right there says, asking for you to attempt to answer, whether there's any country in the world where insurgents are being captured, right? Or terrorists have been captured, re-engineered, revitalized, and then rehabilitated and thrown back into the same society, and yet the people who have suffered from the activities of these what's the name of it again? Revitalized or re-engineered, rehabilitated, terrorists are not, properly taken care of, right? And that's where he's coming out of it, because he doesn't believe that there's any country in the world where that happens. But it does seem as though, terrorists, So how do you make sense of this?
Well, you see, initially, even when they said repentant Boko Haram, I was among the people that keep against it, because these are people that killed other people, made children orphans, made their wives widows, made husbands widowers, and also for that. Are you getting my point? No right-thinking society will do that. But there are countries, particularly in the Middle East. Okay, I can even give you an example of Pakistan as well as what do you call it, India. Are you with me?
Right.
For example, the Taliban that today are in government in Pakistan and in Afghanistan, Don't forget they were at one time insurgents that US had to go and start fighting them and whatever. But today they've even formed government. This is the second time they are forming government in Afghanistan. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
Same way in Pakistan and what have you. Then of recent, there is a terrorist that is on the wanted list of India. When Modi, the Indian Prime Minister, visited America, that terrorist is there in America. He was even begging that suspect should be extradited back to India to be tried. So how come, even with what that terrorist kingpin committed in India when people's lives were lost, he was given, are you getting me, space in America to stay? Boarded terrorist from Turkey. He died in American soil in one of the states there in America. So that it exists in certain countries across the world, but it is not a good omen where you grant amnesty to repentant Boko Haram. Don't forget, even though we cannot compare militancy to Boko Haram insurgency and whatever, because theirs is militancy in Niger Delta for agitation. But don't forget, during the Yar'Adua government, most of the militants were given amnesty to the extent the amnesty office was created. Some of them were taken abroad to South Africa to be trained in piloting, engineering, architecture, and also, and they were absorbed into the society. After that, they created Niger Delta Development Commission, the ministry, and also other things. And of recent, in Kaduna State, even though within Nigeria, the governor, Senator Ubasani, had a truce and understanding with bandits in Bizungwari and some other areas. They allowed them into the society, absorbed them, even give them some cash gifts and incentives, and also other things. But it is morally wrong to grant amnesty to bandits or insurgents.
Right. Now, so I just want you to give us a yes and or no answer, if you can. Rebel groups and terrorists, are they one and the same?
You said what?
Rebel groups and terrorists, are they one and the same?
Rebel
groups, yes, and terrorism.
Rebels differ from terrorists.
Okay, fine.
Because when you look at in Liberia, we had rebels like Chastile Division, right? Then we had Yomi Johnson. You get my point. Then don't also forget the incumbent president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, was a rebel.
Okay.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
So after the genocide, he came, he liberated Rwanda. Look at how good Rwanda is today. Yoweri Museveni of Uganda was a rebel that fought Idi Amin administration. Later he installed Obote. Later they removed Obote before he got government in 1986 in Uganda. And there are, Kabila, Laurent Kabila, that was killed in DRC Congo, was a rebel that seized power. And there are many stories like that in Africa. So rebellion differs from terrorism. Because terrorists, you cannot, they don't have ideology. Terrorists, their only thing is to kill indiscriminately. Right. While rebels have whether for power, political power, and when they get it, they stop all this.
In view of this, all of these concerns, right? At some point, you made mention of the fact that we've had a breakdown, in the different aspects of our, national institution that's supposed to be showing that political will. They're supposed to be able to adjudge, acts of terrorism. In view of this and looking into the future, do you think that we have the capacity, the infrastructure to indeed respond to terrorism in Nigeria?
We do. The political will, DSS is sophisticated, police force CID is sophisticated, NIA is sophisticated, DMI is sophisticated, air intelligence is sophisticated, naval intelligence is sophisticated. Then I also mentioned new Nigerian Police Force National Cybercrime Center that have all the equipment, manpower, and what have you, but give them funding to also catch you since they have certain gadgets. Because I cannot imagine a bandit recording, sending to social media, on TikTok, and we have Nigerian Police Force National Cybercrime Center. If they get the political, they'll be able to go after that. But sometimes, if you don't get the order, how do you do that? So that is why we are saying Bureaucracy should be broken. Let these agencies do their job, whether with order from Commander-in-Chief or not, or NSA. Already they are set up as security apparatus to do their job. The DSS, the Nigeria Police Force National Cyber Crime Center, the NIE, DMI, and others that I mentioned earlier on. They should be given the leverage and political will with enough funding and budgetary allocation. So this is the time for the standing committees in both the Senate and House on intelligence and security to also adequately fund them and oversight if possible.
Very well, thank you. You are Comrade Saliu Mahmood Dantata, security analyst and of course security expert. You've added your voice in this discourse and it is for the furtherance of our dear country, Nigeria. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Right, and yes, to each and every one of us that have added our voices in the discourse, we cannot go any further, but we want to appreciate you. We also want to say our guest and you yourself has not been influenced in any way by us. That's Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. But the breakfast show is still ongoing. Don't go away. My name is Udwak Daniel.
And I am Omo Hefe Peace Osemere. Good morning.
Good morning.